This looks like quite a long one, guys, so bear with me whilst I go through it. So Anna says, we are first-time buyers, and what was meant to be an easy process, no chain, has turned into a nightmare. My mortgage advisor appointed us a solicitor he rated highly. Within a week, I became suspicious. I spoke to him on the phone only once, and it took ages to reply to emails. The owner of the property we are buying informed me that her solicitor was also having trouble getting through to him, and so did the estate agents. We received most of the information secondhand from the owner of the property. When her solicitor would eventually get through, if I ever called, I would get fobbed off and told he was on another call and would call me back, but never did. Completion date was last Friday. On the Wednesday, we tried to transfer our deposit and it bounced back. Called my bank the next morning and they said the account must be closed. We were supposed to be going to the solicitors that day to sign our contract, so thought we would just go there instead and ask. When I typed the name into Google, it then said permanently closed. This instantly screamed alarm bells, but we went there anyway. Got to the door, it was locked. We were later informed that they had now been shut down and told to appoint a new solicitor. Last Saturday, I got an email saying mortgage complete. I forwarded this on to my advisor, and he said it might be an automated message and that I should forward it to my new solicitor. I phoned my new solicitor, and they said as soon as they had my file, they'd look into it. More worryingly, today I received a letter saying that my first mortgage payment is due the 1st of November for a house I don't even own. So it looks as though my old solicitor withdrew the funds early, which is most likely frozen in their bank account. I'm desperately panicking. If this firm has gone bankrupt or something, or sometimes does it mean, if this firm has gone bankrupt or something, does it mean I have lost my deposit? Also, my new solicitors are wanting an extra £200 odd more than what the other solicitors asked for originally, and they are charging more for searches that have already been done. Is this normal? I'm seriously stressed out with all of it. Oh my goodness me! Wow. Okay, Anna, that is an intense situation to be in. I'm absolutely shocked to hear that, and I've got to be careful how I handle this question, Anna, because I don't want anybody to be jumping to conclusions here. But look, let me share with you. I have walked through this process twice this year with different law firms, and it is an unfortunate sign of the times. Not this is going to be of any help to you, but I'll just explain to you what might be going on. It's an unfortunate sign of the times with solicitors' professional indemnity insurance premiums escalating, that more and more are being forced to close their doors, and they're under a lot of regulatory pressure. They're under a lot of pressure from their insurers because they run the risk, unfortunately, if they're sole practitioners or even if they're in a limited company in some aspects, they run the risk of losing everything because when a solicitor has to close their doors to cease trading, they have to pay what's known as runoff cover. And that is usually a multiple of it. I think it's about 2 to 2.5 times the last year's insurance premium as runoff cover to cover any claims for the next 7 years that might arise. Okay, now you can imagine if you're paying £100,000 insurance premium, that is a big chunk of cash to find, and a lot of solicitors don't have it. And unfortunately, scenarios like this can evolve. And as I say, I walked through this twice with 2 different law firms this year, and it is very uncomfortable for the owners. And that would probably explain a lot of the reasons why you've had difficulty getting hold of this particular solicitor. It could well be that they've been very good at what they've done. And I have seen this, as I say, this year already, where you've got very, very good solicitors working in a practice and they're being forced out of business because of the escalating insurance premiums. And that's causing them a lot of headaches. So what I would do in your situation, and just to get to the crux of this matter, I would get onto the SRA website, that's the Solicitors Regulation Authority website, and check to see what action, if anything, has been taken. Okay, give them a call, okay, and explain the situation and see if there's anything they can do to assist. They may, this firm may be in transitioning, in closing, it may be closed. We don't know what's happened to the funds. Have they been drawn down? Have they not? So that's another phone call to your broker or your lender, or maybe both, and find out what's actually gone on. Have the funds been drawn down? or is this an administrative mistake? Because if you try to pay your deposit in and it's bounced back and your bank has told you that the account is closed, then it may well be that your deposit hasn't actually been transferred in and it's stuck somewhere in the banking system. And it may also be that your mortgage funds haven't been drawn down into the solicitor's bank account because they are, again, stuck in the banking system somewhere, or there's been a mistake with some paperwork that's been issued, or they are actually sitting in the solicitor's client account. Now, providing it's not a fraudulent situation, and I can't say for definite whether it is or it isn't, but with solicitors, they should have a separate ring-fenced client account to stop this sort of thing happening, where the money they use to run the firm and the client's money not being merged together in one pot. Okay, so stop. As you can imagine, any kind of, when a solicitor's sitting on multi-million pounds worth of other people's money, you can imagine what sort of scenarios might unfold from there. But the point is, in this situation, you need to be able to recall your funds as quickly as possible. And by speaking to the lender, they may be able to step in and recall the funds immediately, because obviously it's a huge mistake based on the information you've given me, or they may be able to intervene in terms of putting some pressure on the SRA or whatever is required to get it resolved. Because, as I say, if it's a fraud, and I hope to God it isn't, but if it's a fraud, then obviously there's much bigger issues at play here. And the likelihood is, not that it will be any comfort to you, but the likelihood is there will be other people in the same boat as well. Okay, so it's really important to make those 2 phone calls, get onto the SRA, get onto the lender. Then once you've got more information, you can then make a decision as to what you need to do. God forbid it's the worst case scenario. Obviously, there's some reporting duties to do in terms of speaking to the local police or serious fraud office. I've got some reservations about how effective the serious fraud office would be, but it's worth registering that. And also Action Fraud as well, with their online website inquiries there. But the key point here is to get the knowledge and information that you need to work out exactly what's gone on, because it sounds like a doom and gloom scenario. It might be that everything's ring-fenced and protected. The money's sitting in a client account. It's going to be transferred over to the new solicitors, and the new solicitors want an extra couple of £100 to double check the work that's been done so far, because they'll have the file transferred out from the old solicitors to them. So they might want to just, sort of hedge their risk and double check that all the work's being done appropriately, and that, there's nothing that might bite them on the backside because they're taking over somebody else's work. And that's fairly standard. But if all you're facing is a couple of £100 on top of the experience that you've just gone through, I'd pay it and just get the deal done. You know what I mean? Whereas obviously the opposite could be a lot worse. And I'm sorry that you're in that position, and it's I can't imagine how anxious that must be to sort of deal with. As I say, I've walked through it with a couple of firms just by being on a sort of advisory role or a kind of purchasing role, as it were, for the law firm. But to have this situation unfold as a potential client must be absolutely dreadful. And I unfortunately potentially see this situation unfolding a lot more in the future, particularly as the housing market calms down, insurance premiums continue to escalate, mistakes that have been made get washed out over the course of the next few years and months. And I do see it's going to be a bit of a problem. That's not necessarily just my view. I do work with a very heavy hitter in the legal firm industry, and he is also of the same opinion that there is going to be a number of firms that will unfortunately have to close their doors, particularly if a recession kicks in and the housing market takes a turn for the worse. So hope that helps, Anna. I really do hope that it gets you to the right side of this scenario, and you get moved, and you can put it all behind you as a bad nightmare, and one down to experience and a great story to tell to dinner parties and that sort of thing in the future. But sorry that you've had to go through it, because it must be an absolute nightmare. I hope you guys have enjoyed tuning in. As always, if you've got any questions, any concerns, any comments, any feedback that you want to give us, send it through to us. Happy to help at wiggywam.co.uk. I'm going to continue doing these webinars. I absolutely love them. I get a lot of excitement actually in the lead up to doing these webinars and answering all these questions and seeing what you guys are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. It can be a minefield out there without the right people to go to sort of turn to for advice and everything else. But we're here to help and support as many people as we can. We've got the teams behind us who can help and support you as well. So if it's things like finding a conveyancer, if it's things like your searches, if it's things like your sellers packs, anything like that, then we're here to help and support you as much as we can. So I'm going to say goodbye at that level, guys. Thank you so much indeed for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you on another webinar very soon. Thanks indeed for your attention, and good luck and goodbye.